right, I guess we can go ahead and get it kicked off. Did you want to start with introductions, Richie?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm assuming they know who you are.
Yeah, if you've never been on a Webgility webinar before, my name is John. If you aren't used to seeing my face, I am all over Webgility. So any webinars, videos, or IVR, anything you see my face and heard my voice. Been here for like 5 years. Worked with e-commerce brands and in e-commerce in general for a lot longer than that. So I am happy to dive in. Richie, yeah, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Richie. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at Levanta. For those of you, you've probably done some research on us. If you're not familiar, though, we are an affiliate and creator platform for brands that sell across Amazon, Shopify, and Walmart. So, long story short, make it super easy for you to grow your sales through creators and partnerships. I have a lot of experience with founders themselves. I mean, yesterday we were at Shopify Meetup in New York City, 400 founders in a room, and just getting to hear their stories and like what's working, what's not. And I might even share some of those insights I got from the crew yesterday. But with that said, I'm not here necessarily to chat you through my experience yesterday, but more so about affiliate marketing. It is a channel as well as how you can use it as a brand and how to really get started. I will say though, there is a precursor to really getting into the weeds of how you actually get started because I think it's really important, especially for those of you that might be more on the finance side or a marketing team that is having to be friends with the finance team and talk the same language and understand each other, but also being able to make sure that you're investing the right dollars in the right channel, like affiliate marketing, and making sure you have a clear understanding of what kind of return you're getting and how to actually really, I'm going to use a cliche word, maximize the channel, but it's a real thing. So let's just start overall in terms of the shopper discovery as it stands today. We ran a consumer study back in November of 2025, and we surveyed about 1,000 US consumers around their usage of AI. And of those who are using AI to do product research, 87% of them are still discovering those products through traditional channels like social, but then they go and buy on marketplaces like an Amazon, a Walmart, etc. And I think a lot of reasons what we found in that is because it's really easy to buy fast shipping, the usual suspects of why they might buy on marketplaces. But as you know, as an omni-channel brand, consumers or shoppers are going to want to shop or buy wherever it's most convenient for them. So in some cases, it might be Walmart because they have a Walmart Plus plan. It might be on Amazon, or they might just prefer to buy directly from you through your Shopify storefront or your D2C storefront. I know, John, you had mentioned you had some comments on the word omnichannel. Do you want to maybe touch on that? Because I know that means a lot of different things to different people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a conversation that I have pretty frequently, both internally and on webinars and stuff that I do. But like omni-channel, I think is one of those weird industry jargon terms that's sort of making its way out into the world a little more frequently now. But I think most people are under they understand the term multi-channel very easily. I think it's a very self-explanatory term, right? Like if you know what a channel is, if you know what Shopify or Amazon if you know those are channels, then you know that multi-channel generally means that you're operating on multiple of them, which again, super intuitive, super easy to understand. But omni-channel is a term that sort of takes it to a higher degree, and I think there's a misunderstanding with a lot of people when it comes to omni-channel. Sort of in that it maybe doesn't mean anything to them. It to a lot of people, I think it just means multi-channel, but maybe more. And I guess to a degree that is what it is. But just to sort of lay it out all on the table, and from Webgility's standpoint, omni-channel is where everybody should aspire to be as a business. In the eyes of most, tech developers like Levanta, like Webgility, some of our competitors, the ultimate goal is that you tie all of your systems together so that you can have all of the data at your fingertips and make better decisions, right? And I think that's from Levanta's perspective exactly what you guys are looking to do: give people the financial clarity on the affiliate side. Webgility, we look for the financial clarity on the orders, inventory, and operational side. So yeah, just to sort of, if anybody is confused on what omni-channel really means, I like to do a little spiel and just kind of dive into a little bit more so that it gives more context. Ultimately, I think affiliate marketing is another channel, right? It's another way to bring in revenue and manage that revenue, and having that data pulled in from, Amazon, Shopify, Walmart, and pushed into a financial record is super valuable. So I'll get off my soapbox, but yeah, that's my two
Oh,
cents.
I think it was really well said. Also, it's interesting too from the lens of a marketer when they look at affiliate marketing. Sometimes you have marketers that see it as an individual channel, while others see it as a an extended multi-channel channel, meaning
Exactly.
you're working with different creators that are pushing your product through their owned channels, such as like socials, a media outlet like a blog or a newsletter, and what on so on and so on and so on. So a lot of value there, crew. A lot to unpack, but we don't have all that time to do so on here.
Yeah.
But with that said, just a little bit more consumer research on that we've conducted here at Levanta. Again, the biggest thing with shoppers is trust. Like shoppers prefer to hear from third parties versus somebody like the brand itself. I'm sure you're the same way. You always kind of approach advertising with some hesitation or at least a little wariness, and that's okay. But when you see it from creators, creators are generally driving higher trust with shoppers. With that said, I'm going to skip over the second step, but more so about velocity is that consumers, when they actually discover a product, 62% of them, at least the ones that we surveyed, reported that they're making that purchase within 24 hours. So that means that you have a very, very finite window to make sure that you do really killer education on your content, or really killer education about your product to the shoppers about your product through content. And that's where really creators can be helpful because a lot of creator shoppers are going discovering the product and then they're going to listicles, Reddit, YouTube reviews, maybe even talking to a friend. You do your research like you do shopping around, and you're generally going to look around for those types of reviews, especially for higher consideration products. You want to see how it feels, looks, real reviews from people, maybe in the field tests, drop tests and things like that. So it is really powerful that you are omnipresent, and that's where creators can really fill in that gap. And then the
Yeah.
fourth, people always are concerned, especially with the FCC rules around creators actually saying that it is an ad. Actually, 78% of the same cohort of shoppers that we surveyed reported that they were neutral or actually preferred being knowing and had a more positive intent that our positive sentiment around that creator promoting that product. So it's actually not in detriment to your brand or product or them wanting to convert. So chances are you're probably using some other traditional paid media outlets. Let's just take PPC as a traditional example. And I would say PPC, like most other paid channels, it's like a water faucet. You either turn it on or you turn it off, right? And that water will come on and off as needed. But that's just like your budgets and traffic. If you turn the budget off to something like PPC, the traffic is also going to stop with it. With creator and affiliate driven traffic, it's generally evergreen. Once they post, they're making a commission off those sales. But even if you stop working with that creator, guess what? That content still exists in the ether, and that becomes evergreen opportunity for you as well. And on top of that, fun fact, you also can be potentially cited by these large LLMs, which help with your discoverability in platforms like Perplexity, Gemini, etc., which we're doing some research on here shortly as well, not TBD. So who's talking about it? I guess again, it goes back to what we had mentioned in the last slide. Brand's talking about itself. You have a third party human trusting, talking about your product and your brand. And the content lifespan, I think this is the same line that aligns with what I just said on the first line. And then the audience, again, for PPC, chances of you reaching existing demand, right? Because you're doing retargeting, you're creating segments, you're maybe trying to do not win backs, but more so like re-engage old customers. Like those are uh, customers or shoppers that may already know who you are, while creators can really drive that top of funnel demand, but you also want that full funnel attribution. And lastly, with the risk, you're kind of paying for clicks and impressions on PPC, and also you're at the mercy of these auctions to be based on demand and supply, especially during the holiday season. Even during campaign seasons, we've seen spikes in ad costs going up during those times. While on the creator side, if you work on commission only model, you're only paying for the sales, not the clicks. You can work in other models, which we'll dive into a little bit later on as well. So this is the big misconception. A lot of PPC performance managers or ad managers or really performance marketers, they try to measure these two channels in the same way where they're like, okay, I can afford 15% taco. That means I can only afford a 15% commission to pay out on this product. So let's just assume that you sell water filters. I don't know why I have this water filter right here. Got to stay hydrated. Assume it sells for, I don't know, $100. And you're like, okay, based on my COGS, et cetera, I can afford 15% commission. And you usually that game on PPC, and you're going to assume that's also true here. So it means you can afford $15 cost to acquire the customer through at least that one channel, that one ad that you got from a last click attribution. Well, one thing you should be looking at this from versus from the lens of unit economics is looking at this from the lifetime value perspective. And some of you may be doing this, but sometimes, especially finance teams or marketers that are just getting going, maybe not as sophisticated here, may look at it from the unit economics and feel pressure like I can only afford $15, so I probably cannot afford affiliate. Well, if you look at it from the lens of LTV, I have a very rudimentary example. Now, this example does not take into consideration platform fees because brands again sell on different platforms. There's different fee structures based on where you sell, also your COGS, et cetera. So this is a very rudimentary basic example. It's just trying to communicate the differences between these two values. I had somebody call me out on that, so I just want to make sure I double click on that one. But let's just assume your AOV, your average order value on these water filters are $100 and you have a 15% margin. You're like, cool, I can spend $15. But if you look at it from the LTV point of view, you know that you have a $100 AOV, but you know that your customer generally buys about four of these a year. So every 3 months they buy a brand new one. And if you're not familiar with the metric called new to brand, that is any consumer or shopper that has made a purchase from you on Amazon within a 12-month window is considered new to brand. And so you can assume that 80% of your sales are new to brand. And that is about $320 adjusted LTV with that same 15% margin. Look at that. Your max commission is now $48 because you're upfronting that cost, but you're banking on that AOV and LTV over time to then be able to offset those costs because then you can ideally, if you do it right, remarket to them or they trust you on Amazon, they go back to Amazon and they make that purchase. And when I say remarket to them, I have seen some brands where they'll drive traffic to their Shopify storefront, collect that first party data, whether that's an email or a cookie, whatever you want to do, and then drive traffic back to Amazon through Buy with Prime, which I know has some cut of commission as well. So these are just interesting ways to think about it. It's not so linear, and that's the big thing I want to really get across here, team. I'm going to skip over this slide because I think we've already really covered this. But again, from the finance and the marketing team, this is something you should definitely talk about tomorrow and have some type of understanding of how you're thinking about performance measurement and budgets and where does that overlap really happen. I won't dive into this slide too much because I really want to spend more time on the getting started side. And this is where I want to spend most of our time here, team. So I know we have about 15 minutes left, so I want to make sure we power through this in the next 10 and give you about 5 minutes for conversation, Q&A, etc. So where do I start? Got LTV, there's probably some platform. I don't even know how to find creators. Where do I start? There's like TikTok, Instagram. Maybe you're international, so you're like, oh, let's do Redbook. I don't know, right? So with that said, I always like for people to like look at the economics first. Look at your economics. Start with that LTV. What can I afford? Really start there to understand because yesterday I was at a panel with these amazing founders, and one of the biggest things that someone said, and it's actually an article I'm posting later today, is that if you have control of your margin, you have control of your destiny. And that is important. And I think as brand owners, operators, even as marketers, you're constantly looking at the margins and you're like, and especially from an operator perspective, if you start to cut into your margin because you're trying to front load some inventory perhaps and then try to hope that you sell it, that really can impact a lot of how you can invest here to scale. So really take the time, work with your finance team, work with your founders, or look at your marketing head and say, okay, what can we afford from the LTV based perspective, and what can we afford from a unit economics so you understand that math across the board. I'm going to jump out of the Prezzo real quick. We actually have a calculator that you can use. It is gated. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. We're not going to try to call you. But with that said, we have the calculator here. You can check it out. You can input some data and essentially we'll be able to help you calculate your LTV and what commission rate you can afford. Or sorry, what commission you can afford based on your LTV. You can input some data. I believe there's COGS and there might be platform fees in there as well. But again, it varies from user to user, so it can't be perfect. So it's directional. It's not like this is it. Start there. Take that to the team. Start somewhere. So I really highly recommend that on that front. Of course, I always love to, oh yeah, actually, let's go to the next tool as well. So with that said, a lot of people are always like, how do I set my commissions? How do I stay competitive? So we actually do have a blog post on that I wanted to share with you as well. Someone from our customer success team put this together, actually. She's absolutely wonderful. And she really dives into how you should be thinking about setting your commission rates when it looks to your competition. So I've talked about your LTV, what you can afford, but then you have to think about your competition. You are bidding essentially for the attention of these creators because creators can say, I can promote the pure water filter system, or I can promote the Brita filter system. Well, Brita's paying me 40% commission. You're only paying me 10%. So you got to take that into consideration. But also, especially if you're selling on Amazon, you can take advantage of what's called the Amazon brand referral bonus. And that means that you can get a 10%, up to a 10%, not up to, an average 10% kickback from Amazon, which is paid out at the end of the month, I believe. And a lot of brands offset their commissions with this 10%. And that means that brands can say, okay, I can afford 10%, but I'm going to take that referral bonus and offer the 20%, which makes you more competitive against your competition. So those are some interesting ways on where you can offer higher commissions to your creators, but have Amazon offset that. And if you sell on other platforms like Walmart, they do what's called a commission contribution, which is about 4%. So it's a lot lower than Amazon, but it's still, can help offset some of those costs. So I'll drop this link in here as well. And if you are like, why are you sending me reading materials? Put it through Claude and have it give you some talking points. But I want to arm you with as many resources as possible. Another thing, which I'll jump back into the slide real quickly, but I'll be talking through essentially that blog post there, is really about how you can work with different types of creators. And there's a lot of different models, right? I know a lot of times it can be very, very, very intimidating because you're thinking you're going to reach out to a creator and they're like, hey, I want 5 grand for that post. And you're like, I can't afford that. How do I know you're going to send me traffic? Well, that is one model, right? And that's the flat rate model. And that's it is common, but not generally on platforms like Levanta or any other affiliate platform out there. They generally work on a commission only model at the very beginning. So you can have a commission only model where they drive traffic to your site, or in this case, Amazon. They have a 14-day cookie window if they're using Amazon attribution. If it's on Creator Connections or Amazon Associates, it's a 24-hour attribution window, a lot smaller. So I do recommend Amazon attribution, which is Levanta. Um, and at the end of the day, you will, end of the month, pay them a commission out. So if they drive 100 sales, you're off $100 worth of sales, you're offering 10%, you're going to pay them $10, right? So you're only paying for the sale, not the click, not the traffic. But the beautiful thing is, even if they drive traffic to your Amazon listing and they don't make a purchase, guess what? That is external traffic. And Amazon's going to reward you with a better organic rank and BSR. So there's actually a lot of added benefits to having that traffic driven to your site, even if you're not getting a sale, because guess what? You're not paying for that traffic. If anything, you're just paying your team to make sure that that team has the right assets and are armed with the right enablement materials. So again, I have another marketing asset I'll share with you guys as well. I just love doing this. It's fun. I'll share this with the crew here. And if you have any questions, please pop them in while I'm chatting through this. So yeah, you figured all those numbers out and you are like, okay, we're ready to go. You're like, where do I actually start finding creators? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do this. The first is you can use a network like Levanta. We are not purely a network, we're truly a tracking platform for end-to-end for creator and affiliate marketing. And what you can do is you can actively search our database of 60,000 plus creators and you can, use all types of filters and there's a lot of great stuff, right? And you can find creators and you can invite them to your program. But it's a two-way marketplace. So people can actually request to join your program as well, and you can approve or reject them. You can even send product samples, etc. But you can also do your own outreach on off network, which is just going to Instagram, TikTok. If you happen to sell on LinkedIn, I don't know why, maybe you're selling office chairs. Like you can go to those social platforms and invite people to your program as well. Now, a big thing we get a lot of the time from brands is like, how do I actually reach out to them? Like, what am I saying? Well, first of all, be human. They're human beings. They're not a programmatic ad. Try to be personable with them. You want to build a long-term relationship. You don't want to just work with them on a one-off post. You want them to continuously promote your product. So if they promote your products, drive sales, you want to nurture them like you do a sales team where you're like, hey, this is our top performer. You congratulate them. You send them some free gifts, maybe you do a commission bonus 1 month. You can be creative with this. Think of this as an external sales team and then treat them like in a good way, like a sales team from an incentivization perspective. And that's when you get into more complex programs where you have tiering systems, you can have bonus setups, you can have, hey, we're going to do a sale, for example. If you promote these products in the next 2 weeks, we'll give you a $50 bonus. We're even having conversations about how do you repurpose your Amazon and Shopify creators for Prime Day, for example. Like those are all interesting ways you can be very creative here. And then how do you equip those creators? Well, when you want to make sure they're onboarded just like a sales team, right? Send them an onboarding kit, media kit, give them photography that they can repurpose, video, B-roll, examples of really good examples that you like, and talking points, but don't expect them to read from a script that will decline in quality. And two, let them have some creative freedom as well. But you want to arm them with that information. So you might want to even consider starting up a newsletter that's targeting them. You're like, oh gosh, more content. Don't worry, repurpose content. Use AI to help you build that. You got to keep these people engaged. And that's where other models, like hybrid models, where you're doing a flat rate commission plus a commission, or sorry, hybrid, a flat rate fee plus a commission, or a straight flat rate. That's where you're able to get more guaranteed placements because they're promising they're going to post. It costs a little bit more, but there's a lot of halo effect that comes with it as well. Um, I'll share one more piece with you here as well, which is that swipe through, which allows you, it's pretty much a email template drip program that you can use. And it's really simple to use. It'll say like insert your product name, what's the value prop, et cetera, et cetera. And you can use that as a baseline to get you going. Um, and then lastly, what KPIs I should be using. So I just want to show this to you guys real quick. A lot of the KPIs you would see in affiliate marketing are very similar to what you might see in traditional paid advertising. However, the name might not be the same. So you're going to see this is a real example of an account on our customer base. Their name is Bella. They sell like hair dryers, et cetera. And you see the holiday season, they really spike there. But they have traditional KPIs like clicks, the number of conversions that happen, of course, the number of sales, not bad as sales, right? And of course, your commission is very similar to your ad spend. Commission is essentially the amount of money that you paid out to your creators. And then if you want to look at ROAS or return on ad spend or return or ROI, you just take 2.9, 10.6, and you do your math and you get your ROAS. So those are your standard KPIs we're going to look at. Creators do have their own set of KPIs. They use things like APC or earnings per click. How much do I earn per click? It's just kind of a performance and efficiency model. We won't get into that, but these are some basic KPIs you can look into. And we will be sure to send you our definitive guide around affiliate marketing, which really walks you through a lot of these items in detail as well. So I know we hit right on time around the 5 minute mark. Love to pass it over to you, John, and see if there's any questions in the room.
Yeah, yeah. If you've got questions, ask them in the either the webinar chat or the question and answer box, or if you're feeling really spicy, feel free to raise your hand and we can ask it vocally. Totally fine with me.
Yeah.
As long as you're not yelling in my ear. Yeah, and I guess I do have a question. I think coming from the Webgility side of things, I think a common objection to using Webgility, for example, just because it's the world that I live in, is like maybe not seeing value in what Webgility does to save you time. I think affiliate marketing is a little different because I think there's a concept that people fundamentally don't maybe grasp when it comes to affiliate marketing. It's sort of a newer frontier for a lot of people when it comes to advertising in general. I think, I mean, even in the past 10 years, the like advent of having to include the FCC advent of having to include that hashtag ad in your Instagram or TikTok ads is something that like we all thought would be such a bad thing. So when you say, it's seen as sort of a positive indicator for people that trust the brand. I guess what are sort of the common misconceptions you might hear from sellers when it comes to getting started or that are hesitant to try affiliate marketing? And how would you, I guess, address those?
Yeah, that's a really good point because we do get there's a lot of misconceptions out there. A lot of folks assume affiliate marketing is nothing but influencers on social media. affiliate marketing is so much broader than that, and there's a lot of different types of creators. So you have your traditional influencers that you are used to on social, but then there are publishers. And this is where people are like, wait, I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, yeah. So publishers would be things like Wirecutter, BuzzFeed, the New York Times, USA Today, like those major media publications. And if you didn't know, they have a lot of editorial teams that are a large part of their revenue comes from affiliate revenue. So what do you mean by that? Okay, what I mean by that is they will put buyer's guides together. Like you'll see if you go to the New York Times or go to Wirecutter, it's all these guides like, hey, these are the top 10 pairs of sunglasses if you're going to go to the Hamptons this summer. I don't want to go to the Hamptons, but my point is like you'll see things like that. And for every sell that they make through that, they're making a commission off that. And they're using platforms like Levanta and they're looking for products like yours to promote in those guides. And that's also really great PR for you as well, because there are some instances where there will be a real organic mention of a product and then they're like, well, why don't we monetize on that, and they'll reach out to you directly, but they can actually do that right in the platform as well, and you can track those sales, which is really awesome. Then you have what are called media buyers, and this is, I would say, media buyers are one of the most powerful types of creators you can work with, because essentially what they're doing is they're working with you and they're saying, hey, you pay me this commission for whatever I drive to you, but they're using their own money and knowing that your conversion is really high to then do ad spend on your behalf, essentially, that lowers the risk for you to drive that traffic, but they're making a profit off of it in a good way, right? So there's a lot of economics in that. We can send you a whole video on that. Oh, we have tons of content. Wow. We have a whole video on that from our director of publisher development and media buyer. It's really, really good. I highly recommend check it out. We'll send that over to you, John, as well. We've got plenty of resources for you. And that really breaks it down. Another misconception we get is time, and it is a real misconception. Some people have this misconception that you just set it and forget it. Well, there is no platform out there that you set and forget it. Maybe you can go on a Facebook and Meta and set it up and let it run for a while, but affiliate is not that type of a channel. You need to actively manage it. So how do you manage it if you're a small team? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do that. One, you might want to consider a VA. Cost effective, it's a human being, you build a relationship with them, it gets better with time, and you can move from VA to VA as needed, scale up, scale down as your program grows. You can work with an agency. Like we have a ton of agencies in our network that you can work with, but there's so many great agencies out there that you can partner with that can manage this program on your behalf. So if you work with an agency, reach out to them, ask them, hey, do you offer affiliate management? And the third is if you have the budget, hire someone in-house. If you think they have the capabilities, or hire a general marketer that can take this on. And those are ways that you can really manage this program and make sure you get the most value out of it.
Love that. Love that. I think that's a really holistic answer. I think that addresses, a lot of the hesitation that people do have. So I guess we're right at time, but if somebody were looking to literally get started on this week, just to sort of sum it all up, I think the first step is understanding the economics of their business. I think that's the first step that we would recommend for anything, really, when you're looking to make a decision for your business on growth, especially. You want to make sure that you understand your margins and the lifetime value and cost to acquire your customer and all the acronyms. But first step for you guys is understanding the economics, what you can afford to do when it comes to buying influence, we'll say. And then the next step would be choosing your platform, of which you are one, Levanta. There are other options out there, but speaking from a partner experience, I recommend starting with Levanta. And then from there, it is putting together a strategy for finding influencers, right? That's the first three steps.
Yes, absolutely. And if you wanted to chat with Levanta, we are running something. We are offering a $100 gift card if you qualify. And qualify means that you're a Amazon brand, you've never worked on Levanta or a customer, and you're driving at least $1 million in annual revenue on Amazon. And if you're interested, just let us know. We'll connect you with the team, and you just have to take a demo with us, and that's really it. And you don't have to buy, but we might grow your business. But with that said, we are making that offer. We'll include that in the email as well for those who attended. And you're always welcome to reach out to me. You can just search me on LinkedIn. It's Richard Carrion, Carreon. And yeah, I mean, we're always available. Tons of content, folks. My team is absolutely amazing at that. So, and it's good content to say the least. So
Love it. Love
appreciate it
it.
for
And
having me.
I'll include all the resources that you included in the chat. I'll include those in the email that we send out. Again, you'll get a recording of this email or of this session in that email as well. That'll be within the next 24 hours. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being on here, Richie. It's always good working with other brands in the industry. And yeah, if there are any other questions, now would be the time to ask them. Well, all right. Okay. Well, again, yeah, thanks, Richie. It was nice chatting with you. I see Toddy put another link in the chat there.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, sort of
Toddy
like
Rock.
a,
Oh, it's the video.
oh, yeah.
Yes, it's the video I mentioned. Thanks, Toddy. Toddy is amazing. I just gotta say that. Like,
I'll include that link in there too because I think that is pretty valuable from like understanding the misunderstood, right? So
yeah, great. All right.
cool.
I appreciate everybody's time and have a great week, team.
Yeah, take it easy, everybody. Thanks for joining.